Good morning. My name is Polly Romine. I'm a VOCA grant analyst with the Utah Office for Victims of Crime, and I am going to walk through the SAR report with you. I realized that when I was doing my part of the SAR, I wanted to make sure that you guys had a good visual of what it looks like for you. So I am in a subgrantee right now. I'm in the SAR tab. I'm logged into the federal system. This is where you do your PMT report. The SAR is the foundation or the bottom layer or the basis of the PMT reports that you do. The SAR is done once a year in October. Let's see. Let me log in here. So this is what it should look like to you when you guys are in the SAR tab. You can see these guys have had quite a few grants. Some agencies will only have one line here. Some will have two. Some will have a few. So I'm going to scroll down to where I see the 22. You kind of want to look for 22, 23 this grant year. You also want to look for enter edit data. So you can see the rest of these were approved. This one's in progress. I'm going to click on enter edit data and it's going to open up the information for me. So this part will already be done for you by your grant analyst. We enter all of these numbers in. 243,043 is a rounded dollar amount of your active VOCA grant. The federal system rounds up or down. So sometimes your numbers won't be exact. There's no way to put in an exact cents. So even though your grant may have, I think this grant is 243,042 and like 79 cents or something. So we round up. So then we have to do a little bit of math to get the rest of these numbers for child abuse, domestic violence, sexual assault, and underserved. We mark this as a continuation and we put the dates in there. And we do the math here to get all those numbers in. So when you log in, if you see this screen, please don't change anything. If you have questions, let your VOCA grant analysts know. But don't change anything. I just wanted you to understand and see where those numbers came from. So when you log in, this should be the screen that you guys see. You can see that the part I was just showing you is here. And then I clicked these little plus and minuses over here. Your part is in part 2, and it starts with question 7. You can see that when I hover on some of these, instructions come up. Those are super helpful. For these guys, make sure your service area is correct. I'm hoping Salt Lake City is correct because this auto-populates. You can see right here, instructions pop up for match. Many of you took match waivers, and so you're just going to enter zeros in right here and click the little match waiver box right here. If you didn't take the match waiver, you would enter your dollar amount in here for your match, for your VOCA grant, for this VOCA grant. You will enter a SAR for each separate VOCA grant. So if you have a SAS grant and a regular grant, you'll enter 2 SARs. So make sure that your match and the dollar amounts you're putting in are just for this one grant that you're working on. Information and referral. I wanted to show you guys this because some people are confused about where to get this information, which makes sense. Some of you have done this for years. Some of you are brand new. Some of you, even if you've done this for years, might look at this and go, this seems new to me, and that's okay. But I wanted you to see where that information comes from. So I'm actually in the grant. I'm in the application. I believe you guys have this same section. My part of this is our Utah grant management system. My part looks different, but I believe you guys have these buttons as well. So I'm going into VOCA info right now, and it will tell me the information that I need to fill out right here. And so information and referral. I'm going to mark all of those because in the application, it's indicated that, these are the services that that they're doing. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to mark the services based on what's in the application. I'm doing some of these kind of by memory. So if this is your grant and you're watching, don't freak out. I know it's not correct, but you guys, you will make it correct. Make sure that that you are entering these correctly based on this information here. Okay, so number F, really quick, it's important that you mark this because this is the information indicating that you are giving victims and clients information about crime victims reparations or CVR, giving them, helping them understand the CVR application. It is mandatory if you receive VOCA dollars that you are talking to victims about CVR. This can be confusing. People ask, do we have to be making sure that people got accepted for CVR and getting benefits? No. We do many trainings and we talk about this a lot. So if you have questions on the in-depth or the depth that you have to go into regarding helping victims receive CVR and what that entails for your program, contact your VOCA grant analyst. And if you have questions on CVR compensation, then contact the compensation side of UOVC. So I'm going to keep going here. You can see that this is kind of nice when you're here and you are hovering. This is going to be a federal government definition of this crime. So this can help you know, hey, are we really serving people with this type of crime? Are we helping elder abuse victims? What's the difference between kidnapping, custodial and non-custodial? Stalking and harassment, things like that. So I know there were questions last week about child abuse and child endangerment and stuff like that. So I'm hoping that this section can help you know. We do have definitions regarding the services as well from the federal government. I'm hoping that if you got this training, you also have the definitions as well. So, but it's just kind of nice to be in here sometimes and see what the federal government decides. UOVC, we do not make up the definitions. We won't make up the definitions. We go off of the federal government. So anyway, I know that this agency is a pretty big agency and they serve a lot of different crimes. I know that if they had marked every single crime, I wouldn't be surprised. So as you're going along, and if you notice, there are questions about, oh, hey, we don't really serve this. We don't really do this. Can we change it? Talk to your grant analyst. There are some limitations with this system changing some things, but we might be able to help you understand what services you're doing or not doing, and what you should or shouldn't be reporting here. So, okay, now for the fun part. Many people get to this part and they're like, oh, we just get the amount that VOCA gives us, right? Wrong. You, especially if you've had to do match in the past, you should be, I can't think of an agency right now who isn't getting extra funding from your agency to support your programs. So this number populates automatically. The B, this is the amount that you're getting from VOCA. This number and this number should not be the same. You should be putting in a little bit more money. Well, how do I figure that out? If I'm a brand new grant analyst, I'm a grant manager, I'm a victim advocate. What do I do? Say I inherited this grant. how do I figure out what this number is? So this question A is actually asking all victimization programs for your whole agency, not just VOCA funded. So many of our nonprofits, even many of our government agencies, system-based, have multiple programs. So if you have a big number in here, that's okay. I wouldn't be surprised. You may have a big number in there. For this agency, I know that their VOCA funded program is the only VOCA funded program, but I know that they get more money that goes towards this program. So I am going to look at application info. If I have no other access, I don't work for this agency. If I have no other access, I'm not sure where else to go. I don't have a finance person helping me. I am going to look at additional resources in my VOCA grant application. So we know that this VOCA program is only funded about 50% of the time. And here's the rest of their fundings. Here's the amounts over here and the source of where it's coming from. So now I can fill out, oh, okay. So I know that other state or territory, and I might be doing this incorrectly. You guys make sure you do it correctly. I don't work for this agency. So when this grant manager goes in, she can make sure that everything's absolutely correct. So I saw 167,000. Whoop, is right here from the legal department. This is an attorney's office. They're getting 167,000 extra to help support match. And I know that they probably have some non-VOCA funded people as well. They're getting a little community grant. They're getting some donations. So they're getting about 16.5 in other local. So that is, oh, that's what, 243,043, which is the amount VOCA gives, plus the amount the agency is paying, plus other grants and donations. 426,543. 426,543 goes in that top box. And this amount is the total dollar amount for all of their victimization programs. So you would add in here other grant funded programs, other non-grant funded programs. You would enter this in right here. And so these numbers would look a little different based on if you were getting other funding and had lots of other victimization programs. But since these guys are just VOCA funded, it's a little bit easier looking at just their application to find these numbers. But hopefully that gives you an idea of where to start and what to look for and what to be putting in these boxes. This is saying we're required right there. So we're going to put in some zeros because let's pretend there's no other federal funding and no other non-federal funding. Honestly, other non-federal funding, sometimes people ask, what is that? If you can fit it into these other three boxes, please do that. Okay, so paid staff. Many of you know what FTE is, full-time employee. A full-time employee and FTE is usually 20 hours. I said usually, I didn't mean to. The FTE is 2080. So 2080 hours is full-time. It's 40 hours a week. All year long is 2,080 hours. So this is asking how many employees. They don't want hours. They don't want FTE hours. This grant funds 6 employees, but I know they have at least a couple other employees. So I'm going to guess and say 8. Again, you guys aren't going to guess. You're going to know the answer. So this number might be way higher if you have Say if you're the nonprofit agency I'm thinking about, you probably have 25 or 30 employees and only maybe 4 or 5 or 6 are VOCA funded. So you would put everybody, all your programs in here. Now it's asking for the number of hours. So 8, how I got this is I know that 8 times 2080. Oh, sorry, 6. There's 6, so right here it says number of staff hours funded through this VOCA award, and I know that there's 6. 6 people are funded, so I'm going to do 6 times 2080. That's how many hours. I know that these guys have volunteers, but they're not going on the grant. If they weren't doing a waiver, I know that this number would be pretty high. But number of volunteer staff supports this VOCA award plus match. So we don't have to worry about match because they're taking the waiver. So I'm going to put some zeros in there. So just make sure when you're answering these questions that you're making sure it's for all of your programs or it's just this VOCA award. So just make sure that you're paying attention to those, the wording of the question, and save and continue. So one of the things to notify you about is if you struggle through this and it takes you 30 minutes or more, it'll let you enter in all your data, but when you get to the end and save it, it won't let you save it. So if you get to the end and you're struggling with some saving, it's probably because the time limit has come up. If you're struggling and you get a notification, like an error notification, maybe take a screenshot of that so your grant analyst can help you maybe know how to fix it. So it came to this screen. Everything looks good. We've got some red here. Don't worry about this. It's not really an error. It's just telling you that it's auto-populated. It would be giving us an error down here at the bottom. I'm not going to save it because I don't want to screw up this agency's numbers, and I guessed on some of them. So, but when I go in, I mark the SAR as basically awarded or approved, and save it, and then it will show up on my list, or on our list, on your list, as one of these guys. Oh, navigating these fund systems it's Monday morning. So right now it still says enter edit data. When you guys save your data, I believe it says, submitted or something like that. It won't say approved until I go in or your grant analyst goes in and saves it. Okay, so I just wanted you to sort of see where you get that information from your application and how to put it into the system and what that looks like. You should be getting instructions as well as this video. And my dog is walking through. Hopefully you guys can't hear that right now. I want to make sure that I have just touched on everything I need to touch on. I think I did. So if you have questions about the SAR, just remember the SAR is the basis of the PMT. It's done once a year in October. It's done in the federal system. Those are some of the most important start-off places regarding the SAR. So let your grant analyst know if you have questions, and we'll see you soon.